Okay, so let's take a look at the three things that you really must do. The first one I'm going to show you is super, super important. Um, Not overly complicated, but you're going to need to do it certainly for the first 2 or 3 weeks of any new campaign. And the next two are pretty instant, but most people miss out on them. So let's take a look. First thing you're going to need to do is check your search terms. Now, this is completely different to keywords, especially important, as I said, for the first 2, 3, 4 weeks. Okay, very, very important. You need to see what terms are triggering your ads. So, turn any search terms that are not relevant into negative keywords. Now, you're going to find the search terms under Auction Insights on the left-hand side of your dashboard, and you click on that, and then you see search terms, and you click on that, and then it opens up. And you can, I would normally go back at every opportunity 7 to 14 days. When you're first starting out, you're doing it the previous day, but you need to be keeping an eye on, what, key terms are actually triggering your ads, right? So you will save money on needless clicks and your impression count will decrease, thus increasing your click-through rate. This is all relevant to the quality score that we've seen before. So just to reiterate, okay, you go into Auction Insights, search terms, set the date, and then check from the previous day what search terms triggered your ads. And what we want to be doing is running through these and turning all the ones that ultimately were shown for impressions or got clicks and then putting them into negative keywords. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a few minutes, okay? But this is super, super important. Why? Because one, you don't want to be spending money on clicks that aren't relevant. Okay, we can, by getting rid of them, they're never going to show again. Our impression rate will go down, our click-through rate will go up, and in return, so will your quality score. All right, this is how Google makes money, okay, because people don't keep an eye on things like this. Secondly, when you're setting this up, okay, you can always double check. You can come back into ad group campaign level on your networks, right? By default, when you set up your campaigns, the search network will have the include Google search partners checked, and so will probably the display network checked. You do not want these. We need to uncheck them. For most businesses out there, these are going to be needless clicks that we just don't want, and especially on the display network. We don't want to be running search ads on the display network. However, this is Google being crafty, excuse me, and having them checked already for people who don't know any better, saying, yeah, it's great that you should do it, but no, you don't. You want to uncheck. So you want it to look like this. So when you're in the networks, just make sure that they're unchecked and that your ads are not going to, it's only going to show on Google search only, not on the search partners, and certainly not on the display network. And then when you're actually doing your locations where you're going to be targeting, whether you're doing anything from, no matter where you are, whether it's your own country, UK, US, Canada, Australia, wherever it may be, or even worldwide, especially on the local level, by default, yet again, Google will have under location options, presence or interest, people in, regularly in, or have shown interest in your targeted locations recommended. No, we don't want that. We want to change it to presence, people in or regularly in your targeted locations. We don't want people who are just simply passing through, okay, or people that are typing into Google who are not in that location to find something in that location. We want people who are in or regularly in those targeted locations, all right? So why don't we just take a quick look live on a live account, what this looks like, and especially what we need to do for the negative key terms on the search terms, okay? So let's take a closer look. Okay, so now we're inside a new campaign for a client. It's literally only been running about a week. And they do sort of hardwood flooring installation. So, but to check out for the key terms, we need to be at campaign and ad group level. Then you come into auction insights here, and then you click search terms. All right, and as you can see here, it's showing the last 7 days. And we're specifically in for our search criteria is people looking for hardwood installation, all right, hardwood floor installation. And you can see certain terms here that we're just not going to want. It's been showing, certain impressions. It's very young, this account. But either way, we're getting search terms here that we simply don't want, okay? I mean, that's very generic, right? Because if we actually look at the keywords that we're targeting in this group, we're very specific to hardwood floor installation, okay? There's a couple of broad terms in here just by accident, but this is pretty much hardwood installers, quotes, installation estimates, that type of thing. So let's just come back to the search terms. And you can see certain terms here we don't want. Just simply flooring we don't want that. Wood flooring's fine. We'll sort of have white oak because that's okay. Hardwood floor installation, well, obviously we want that. We definitely want that. We don't want that. We don't want that. We'll leave floor sanding because that's sort of refinishing. We don't want that. Parquet flooring, we certainly don't want that. So we run through, this is what's always going to happen on a brand new campaign. We're going to get leakage, no matter whether we do, phrase, exact, which is pretty much what we're mainly going to concentrate on. There's a bit of broad in here, but that's just a little bit of testing that we're doing. 9 times out of 10, we simply wouldn't do it. And this is the ones that's really going to give us the problems. But most of the time what I teach you, we're only going to focus on phrase and exact match. So we don't want these type of things. Okay, that what we do with installation, we do want that. We probably keep those because the people are looking to buy Aztec flooring. Okay, so we go through these ones that we simply don't want. Okay, and then once we find them, as we're checking each and every day on what's coming through, we check them here, and then we click add negative keyword. Now, ideally, what I suggest by default, what will happen is they'll put these keywords in exact match. What you really want to do is change them round, okay, to phrase match, okay? Change them round very simply from the closed brackets here to the parenthesis, which denotes phrase match. You want to change them around. Now, I won't do them all now, but you get the gist, right? This is what we want to be doing. So now we've added them as, put them in as a negative keyword. Once you've done that, you just want to click save. Okay, and then as you scroll up, you'll see that all these are now excluded. Okay, these search terms will not show again in your campaign or in your ad groups. All right, so you will save on impressions and we'll save on clicks. Next thing, we want to come back into sort of like into campaign level. All right, and then we want to come down into settings. And if you remember what I was saying, the first thing we're going to look at is networks. Okay, when you first set this up, and a lot of people miss it, you'll have, for example, these may well be already checked when you set up your campaigns. We're going to do a live campaign setup anyway, okay, in this course, and you're going to see it in the curriculum. But I like to be a bit, a bit thorough because these things are easily missed. Okay, so make sure these are unchecked. We don't want either one of these. We don't want search partners. We don't want display, and then click save. Right, and the second thing is the locations, because you're going to spell out what locations you're targeting, whether it's country or on the local level. And you see by choice here, you have to click on this to drop it down, so it's easily missed. So what you want to do is just drop it down, and by default, when you first set up, this is what it's going to be. It's going to be like this, recommended. You need to come in here, click this, drop it down, change it to that, and then click save. right? So between these three things, you get this right straight out the gate, you're gonna get minimal leakage on your campaigns. You're not here for the business of making Google rich. You're here for the business of getting yourself rich. All right. So bear all this in mind when you're setting up your campaigns.